The 1960s were a decade of anti-war protests, the rise of counterculture movements, and music that will live forever in our minds. There were bands that made us want to sing in the car or dance along to the groovy beats. In this video, we'll share 10 bands we think deserve more credit as they have become the forgotten bands of the 1960s. Starting with number 10, The Zombies. Formed in 1961, the English rock band The Zombies took the radio waves by storm with their first hit, She's Not There, released in 1964. This wouldn't be their only hit, as they would follow up with I Love You in 1966 and their ever-popular Time of the Season in 1968. They may have been ahead of their time with their unique sound, but the sound alone couldn't keep the band together, as they would end up breaking up after a final gig in December of 1967. At number 9 is the Hollies. While the band had experienced some success, including hits like He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, and Bus Stop, the Hollies were often overshadowed by other British invasion bands that were beginning to dominate at that time. In fact, they were one of the last British invasion groups to have success in the US. Fun fact, did you know Elton John played piano on the Hollies' 1969 song, He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother? At number 8 is the Turtles. Best known for their happy-sounding song, Happy Together. In 1967, the Turtles were one of the few bands that seemed to be overlooked. They started in the mid-60s and were done by 1970. They had a string of hits like She's My Girl and Let Me Be, but the lightning in the bottle only lasted so long. The music scene in the 1960s never gave them credit where the credit was due. Sadly, the band would have management issues and record label problems that would lead to an early breakup. At number 7 is the Left Banke. While they never sustained success, the American Baroque pop band that formed in New York City in 1965 had two big hits. Those songs were Walk Away Renee and Pretty Ballerina. At the number 6 spot is The Creation. Their sound was once compared to The Who and The Kinks. The Creation managed to be one of the first bands to introduce a bow played on guitar. That song was the 1966 song Making Time, which was a big hit for them. Now at the number 5 spot, we remember the Blues Magoos. The Blues Magoos were an American rock band hailing from the Bronx, New York City. Emerging in 1966, they were pioneers of the psychedelic music movement. The band is most famous for their hit song, Nothing Yet, which remains their only single to crack the Billboard Top 50. If you've seen any of these bands before, be sure to share your experience with us. Now back to the countdown. At number 4 is the Beau Brummels. This unique band was formed in San Francisco, California in 1964. They were the first rock band from the Bay Area to actually achieve national success. The Beau Brummels are famous for hits like Just a Little, Laugh Laugh, and You Tell Me Why. Their band's sound has been compared to the likes of Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead. At number 3 is the Pretty Things. Formed in London in 1963, the Pretty Things were a crucial role in terms of the original British R&B wave, alongside their friends and fellow trailblazers, the Rolling Stones. As the story goes, this English rock band formed in September 1963 in Sidcup, Kent, and formed their name The Pretty Things, from Bo Diddley's 1955 song Pretty Thing. The Pretty Things were active in their original lineup until 1971, but sadly never received the commercial success they deserved. At number 2, the Standells. Some consider the band to be the godfathers of garage punk rock, along with Lou Reed and Iggy Pop that filled that space. You may remember their song Dirty Water. It starts with an opening guitar riff that grabs you and never falters. Unfortunately, their name rarely comes up in conversation, even today. You may remember Jimi Hendrix covering the Standells' version of Hey Joe, but in actuality, Hendrix recorded his own version of the song. And now at number 1 is the Cryan Shames. They were a Chicago-based band that produced catchy pop hits like Sugar and Spice, but when it came to recognition, they never got the credit they deserved. It is said their sound was borrowed heavily from bands like the Byrds and the Beatles. In the UK, they had one hit single. The year was 1966, and they produced a cover of the Drifters' 1961, Please Stay. The band continued to write songs for many years, including songs like I Want to Meet You and covers of songs like We Gotta Get Out of This Place, but never reached the heights they wanted. While these may have been bands that have been forgotten, their music still lives on. Which band out of the 10 do you remember the most? Let us know.